Yeah, thanks, guys. Speaking of driving and road trips, we have an awesome story about a road trip wonder. I want you guys to meet Tyson Jerry. He's a 2010 Guinness World Record inductee, and he still holds the title for traveling the longest journey by car using alternative fuel with the Driven to Sustain team. He drove through nearly every state, province, and territory in North America, racking up right around 48,500 kilometers, which, if you're doing the math, is roughly 30,000 miles. He set that record, by the way, in 2010, and 12 years later, that record has yet to be broken. Tyson is an adventurer, photographer, and an advocate to reduce carbon dependence. He's using his travels to help spread his message and educate others about green initiatives. Now, earlier this week, I actually got to chat with Tyson about what made him want to chase the record book title.
About 15 years ago, I decided that the climate was really becoming a concern. And my partner at the time, Chloe Whitaker, and I just decided to do something about it. And we decided to partner with the Sierra Club and get a sustainable education out to students across North America. And as we did, we drove through just about every state, province, and territory using biodiesel and French fry grease.
What exactly is biodiesel? I know what French fry grease is.
Yeah, so biodiesel is a product where you take a fat and you separate the glycerin, and you get a chemical very similar to diesel.
So let's also talk about this. You know, transportation is the greatest cause for greenhouse gases, accounting for 27% of emissions here in the United States. Considering the growing number of electric cars on the market, and then we're also kind of talking about the Inflation Reduction Act, is America, you think, doing enough to curb their carbon emissions and their carbon production?
You know, I'd like to think so. We're getting there. Unfortunately, right now, the perfect low carbon fuel solution isn't available today. I mean, petroleum liquids like diesel and gasoline are very convenient, but we need to get off of them to stop climate change. Passenger battery electric vehicles are awesome. I own one. I own a Nissan Leaf, and I love it. And however, what really interests me is the heavy duty pieces of equipment on the road today. How do we transition and displace diesel from our operations and to move goods to people's homes? So battery electric just happens to be one of those solutions that's available to us today.
I mean, you touched on it there, your advocacy work. It focused largely on trucking. So you talked about the solutions aren't there, but what are your thoughts on what those solutions could be besides electric trucking? Yeah,
so I mean, the consumer, I believe, was duped into thinking the responsibility to save the planet lays on their shoulders. We were all taught that if we recycled, maybe if we bought an electric car, we were going to do our part. And that's great. Everybody still has to do their part, but corporate America really has to pick up the lion's share of responsibility here and clean up a lot of the mess that we've created for future generations. It's time to start reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and we can start with transportation.
And your focus, you know, has been largely North America. However, you are in Canada, and I know that you're familiar with Canadian policies. How do those policies compare to kind of the American policies that we see here in order to reduce carbon emissions?
You know, I'm glad you asked me, Tab. The policies here in Canada that were just passed, there's an interesting one called the Clean Fuel Standard. It's a federal regulation. In the States, the Inflation Reduction Act was also just recently passed, which has a tax credit for $3 per kilogram for hydrogen, which is astronomical. That's a great amount of money towards a low carbon intensity hydrogen. Really, collectively, I think we saw a lot of Europeans' jaws drop because they were very bullish on hydrogen, and they still are. The entire world sees hydrogen as the solution to decarbonize heavy-duty pieces of equipment.
Well, it feels like we're making a ton of progress here, and it feels like there are these alternative fuels that are coming forward. We're talking about electric. But we take a look around and global warming is happening. Climate change is very real. Do you think that we are actually going to be able to hit the numbers that we need to reach with these different kinds of resources and technology in order to save the planet in time?
Yeah, so I'm not a climate scientist. However, I've been watching the emerging technologies that are coming out in the next 5 to 10 years, and it's very inspiring. So every within North America, you have provinces and states that are very progressive, and California and British Columbia are really going to drive a lot of this market. Every company should be taking this seriously, how to decarbonize their operations, and if they're not, they're going to be left behind.
All right, Tyson, just really quickly, we're almost out of time, but I want to know, you've already done so much with your career. What's next for you? What are you still working on?
Yeah, I plan on displacing fossil fuels one truck at a time.
Easy enough. Tyson, Jerry, thank you so much for taking the time to come on, and we're excited about continuing to watch what you do here in the future, and hopefully we can all come together as a planet and take all the steps we need to reduce our carbon emissions.